the sound of horse hooves echoing through cobblestone streets, sunlight bouncing off pastel-colored buildings, and the slow rhythm of a city that never forgot its past. This is Ciudad Colonial, the oldest European settlement in the Americas, right here in Santo Domingo. You can feel the history in every stone, every archway, every breeze coming off the Caribbean Sea. As I make my way through the plaza, something catches my eye. A line of traditional horse-drawn carriages, each one waiting to take travelers on a slow ride back through 500 years of history.
¿Todo bien? Dice de Ladies Calle Las Damas.
Ajá.
Academia de Ciencias de la República Dominicana. Calle Con, calle Pastrana. Antigua embajada de Francia.
Ajá.
Dice conquistador de México, Hernán Cortés.
O sea, ¿qué?
Ya dice de Plaza María de Toledo. María de Toledo, esposa de Diego Colón, hijo de Cristóbal Colombo. Acá, plaza. Panteón Nacional, Casa de la Patria Dominica. Dice Centro de los Héroes Dominicanos. Museo de la Casa Real, primer palacio presidencial que hubo en la República Dominicana. Casas de los jesuitas, casas de la gárgola. De un lío. Alcázar de Cristóbal Colón, allá al final. Reloj del Sol, capilla Nuestra Señora de los Remedios, donde vivió la familia más rica, llamada la familia Dávila. Acá. Es el maestro mentado, que bebe cerveza ese. Maestro, ¿tiene vaselina ahí? Fundación Dominicana de Desarrollo. Bar Reserva. Los chelitos de los dominicanos.
Banco de Reservas de la República Dominicana. It's actually the national bank of the country, often called Banreservas. Founded back in 1941, it's one of the oldest and most trusted banks in the Dominican Republic, with branches all across the island. This one sits right in the colonial zone, a reminder of how modern life and centuries-old architecture blend together here in Santo Domingo.
Negra. Antigua Embajada de México.
Right here is the Antigua Envasadora de Mexico, the old bottling plant from the mid-1900s. Back in the day, this was where popular Mexican and Dominican drinks were packaged and shipped across the city.
Calle Arzobispo Meriño. Sí. Tomando.
Now we're passing along Calle Arzobispo Meriño, one of the most historic streets in the Colonial Zone. Named after Archbishop Fernando Arturo de Meriño, this road connects many of the area's landmarks, cafés, museums, and even the cathedral. It's a perfect stretch to really feel the heartbeat of old Santo Domingo.
Where are you from, sir?
Miami.
Miami.
Yeah.
Go, Santo Domingo. Dice Palacio Consistorial, Alcaldía de la ciudad. Parque Colombo. Parque Colombo. This is the church, cathedral, Primada de América. (1523-1992). ¿Primera vez a Santo Domingo? ¿Primera vez a Santo Domingo? Ok. Dice Park Padre Virgini. Park Padre Virgini.
This area is known as Parque Padre Virgini, one of the oldest parts of the colonial zone. Just behind these walls are the ruins of Hospital San Nicolas de Bari, built back in 1523, the very first hospital in the entire Americas. Even though only parts of the original structure remain, it's a reminder that Santo Domingo was the birthplace of many firsts in the New World, from cathedrals to hospitals.
Havana, Cuba.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
¿Por qué?
Yeah, música en vivo. Mucho cubano. Casa de teatro. Casa de teatro Dominican.
As the carriage rolls down Calle El Conde, you'll pass spots like Havana Club, where the walls are filled with music and the air feels alive. It's a place where locals and travelers come together to dance, laugh, and enjoy live bands playing merengue, salsa, and some cubano late into the night. Taking one of these traditional horse-drawn carriages through Ciudad Colonial is more than just a ride, it's like traveling through time. Most drivers charge around $35 for about 45 minutes, and that's per carriage, not per person. You can usually negotiate a shorter or longer route depending on how much you want to see. For me, though, the price felt fair. You get a calm, scenic loop through the oldest streets in the Americas, past colonial homes, plazas filled with music, and hidden gems like this Havana Club bar. It's one of those experiences where you're not just sightseeing, you're feeling the rhythm of Santo Domingo itself. You'll notice overhead wires everywhere above us right now, and there's good reason. The Dominican Republic's power grid is built above ground in many places because of cost, history, and infrastructure constraints. Much of the system was designed decades ago, and the city's old quarters still rely on poles and wires rather than buried cables. The result, a mesh of power lines, telecom wires, and building connections weaving through the colonial skyline.
Callejón Macorís.
As the carriage turns onto the narrow Callejón de los Macoritos, the energy shifts. It's quieter here, the walls painted in soft colors, the echoes of the past mixing with the rhythm of the present. This little alley may not make the guidebooks, but it's a reminder that Santo Domingo's history lives not only in its monuments, but in its everyday corners. As we roll into this historic heart of Santo Domingo, the narrow cobblestone streets open up to a story 500 years old. First stop, the grand residence of Alcázar de Colón, built in the early 1500s for Diego Colón, the son of Christopher Columbus. From its terrace, you'll look out over the Plaza España and the calm waters of the Uzama River. Inside, the rooms, the furniture-style displays, and the thick walls whisper of colonial power and early New World settlement. Take your time, breathe the air, imagine the explorers and merchants moving through these halls. Just a short walk away, you'll come to the iconic Cathedral Primada de America, the first cathedral in the Americas, where time seems to stand still in the cool shadow of its marked arches and golden sunlight streaming through stained glass. As you pass through the plaza, outside, the horse-drawn carriages clip-clop by, adding a rhythm to the day that's part travel, part immersion.
Malecón de Santo Domingo.
After winding through cobblestones and centuries-old architecture, the ride brings us to the Malecón, Santo Domingo's grand seaside boulevard. On the left, the vast Caribbean Sea. On the right, hotels, palms, and the hum of wine. The ocean breeze hits you here, a reminder that this city isn't just past and preserved, it's alive and evolving. Here on the avenue, every step is framed by palm trees, benches facing the sunset, and a stretch of road that feels infinite. It's where locals come to walk, where music drifts on the breeze, where the past meets the pulse of today.
Dice Obelisco Lady, Malecón de Santo Domingo, Obelisco Hembra, Fuerte de San Ger. Malecón de Santo Domingo, George Washington.
The Obelisco Hembra, or female obelisk, it was built as a tribute to Dominican women, especially the Mirabal sisters, who stood up to dictatorship and became national heroes. It's a reminder that strength isn't only found in power, but in courage and sacrifice.
Hotel Napolitano.
Right along the George Washington waterfront, you'll find the historic Hotel Napolitano, one of Santo Domingo's classic seaside stays, with a pool overlooking the Caribbean, a casino, and rooms that face the ocean. It's a great mix of local charm and comfort. The hotel's been part of the city's skyline for decades, right where the Malecón meets the Caribbean breeze.
Dice Obelisco Macho, man, my friend. Plaza Juan Barón, donde se celebra festival de merengue y bachata dominica. No, no, no.
This iconic waterfront avenue in Santo Domingo is officially named Avenida George Washington, a tribute to the U.S. founding father and one example of how the city has celebrated global figures in its urban fabric. Still, for locals, it's simply El Malecón, a place of sea breezes, song, and coastal rhythm. As the carriage turns through the quieter streets of Ciudad Colonial, you'll see small local churches like this one, El Tabernáculo, part of the Assemblies of God. It's not a tourist attraction, but it shows how faith and everyday life still pulse through these centuries-old streets. The Colonial Zone in Santo Domingo has one of the highest concentrations of hotels and boutique stays in the entire Dominican Republic. Within these cobblestone streets, 500-year-old buildings have been reborn as elegant retreats where Spanish colonial charm meets Caribbean comfort. From the five-star Hodelpa Nicolás de Ovando and the stylish Bellini Hotel to cozy guest houses like Casa Sanchez and Hotel Conde de Peñalba, every stay has a story. Some offer rooftop pools with sunset views, others open to courtyards filled with palm trees and the sound of church bells. Whether you're traveling on a budget or seeking luxury, staying in the Colonial Zone means waking up inside history itself, surrounded by music, color, and the timeless rhythm of Santo Domingo.
Instituto de Señoría Almoreña. Dice de Church, Iglesia y Convento de Disciplina Danchero, Callejón de Regir y Paseo Colonial. Hostel Bichin. Conventos de los Dominicos. Conventos de los Dominicos, dice Iglesia la Primera Universidad. Construida por Santo Tomás de Aquino. Parque Juan Pablo Duarte.
At the edge of the colonial zone stands the towering statue of Fray Anton de Montesinos, a Dominican friar who, in 1511, stood in this very city and dared to speak out against injustice. His sermon was one of the first public defenses of indigenous rights in the New World. Today, his statue faces the Caribbean Sea, a reminder that true courage can echo across centuries. Just a few steps from the main plaza stands the site of the Universidad de Santo Tomás de Aquino, the very first university in the Americas. Founded in 1538 by Dominican friars and named after St. Thomas Aquinas, it trained the early scholars and priests of the New World. Though the original building stands in ruins, its spirit lives on through the modern Universidad Autónoma de Santo Domingo.
Dice Kodia, Kodia.
These narrow streets of the colonial zone show the contrast between old and new, centuries-old limestone homes standing beside modern white buildings. Some of these colonial houses are still lived in, others waiting to be restored into cafes, galleries, or boutique hotels. It's a living neighborhood where the past and present share the same view.
Calle Católica. Isabela Católica. Dice Larimar. Larimar.
The colonial zone in Santo Domingo has one of the highest concentrations of hotels and boutique stays in the entire Dominican Republic, all tucked inside a few cobblestone streets that feel frozen in time. Here, history isn't something you visit, it's something you sleep in. The walls, the courtyards, even the wooden shutters still whisper stories from 500 years ago.
Cathedral.
Behind these coral stone walls stands the Cathedral Primada de America, the first cathedral in the New World. Built in the early 1500s, it's the heart of the colonial zone and one of the greatest treasures of Santo Domingo. Its Gothic arches, golden altars, and centuries-old chapels tell stories of faith, power, and the birth of the Americas. Right in the center of Santo Domingo's colonial zone sits Parque Colón, a place where 5 centuries of history meet everyday island life. This square was once the heart of the old Spanish colony where governors, merchants, and explorers gathered. Today it's filled with cafe tables, music, and the rhythm of modern Dominican life.
Pelota.
At its center stands the statue of Christopher Columbus, pointing toward the New World, while the city's first cathedral rises just behind him, the same view travelers have seen since the 1500s.
Order.
Locals come here to talk, tourists stop for cold drinks, and the sound of a horse-drawn carriages mixes with laughter and guitars. Whether you're passing through or just sitting under the trees, Parque Colón reminds you Santo Domingo isn't just history you read about, it's history you can still feel moving all around you.
Hermano. Bien.
As the carriage rolls deeper into the colonial zone, the streets begin to quiet down. The sound of the wheels on the cobblestones and the clip-clop of the horse echo between the old stone walls. Around me, centuries of history line both sides, homes painted in warm tones of orange and cream, with carved wooden doors and iron balconies overlooking the narrow street. Many of these buildings date back to the 1600s, restored and still lived in today. Some hide boutique hotels or family-run cafes behind their heavy doors. Others serve as quiet residences where life moves at a slower, more peaceful pace. It's moments like this that remind you what makes the colonial zone special. It's not just about monuments or museums, it's about everyday life still flowing through streets that have seen 500 years of change.
Yo te tiro, dame llegar a la tienda. Dame llegar a la tienda, yo te tiro. Niño, pues tú sabes que no te puede pasar porque ya casi. ¿Qué es lo que? Bien. Dime, negra. Siempre hay. This is the heart. Digo yo, "Ah."
It's moments like this that remind you what makes the Colonial Zone special. It's not just about monuments or museums, it's about everyday life still flowing through streets that have seen 500 years of change. The walls are covered with Dominican art, bold, vibrant paintings of island life, beaches, musicians, and markets. Every canvas tells a story of the Caribbean full of rhythm, energy, and soul. It's the perfect place to end the ride, surrounded by creativity, culture, and the heartbeat of Santo Domingo. Whether you chow and you buy something
no,
or
one
just
more.
take it in,
Dice,
this is what
the look at
the
the mark.
Colonial Zone leaves you with. A reminder that history isn't only in the streets and monuments. It's alive in the art, the people, and the spirit of the Dominican Republic.
Wow. Check it out.
After the carriage ride through the Colonial Zone, my driver brought me to a local souvenir shop, one of those hidden spots you might miss if you're walking. Inside, the walls are covered from floor to ceiling with colorful Dominican art. Every painting bursts with life, market scenes, palm trees, island music, and the warmth of the Caribbean. You can find everything here, from small hand-painted canvases to bright wooden crafts and jewelry made by local artists. Inside the souvenir shop, you'll find a little bit of everything that represents the Dominican Republic. The shelves are packed with hand-painted art, wooden crafts, coffee, cigars, jewelry, and colorful keepsakes that tell the story of the island. Every corner is full of color, tropical paintings, small flags, and handmade bracelets, the kind of souvenirs that don't make you stop and smile because they carry that warm Caribbean spirit. Some of these items are made right here in the Colonial Zone by local artists. Others come from different parts of the island, from Santiago, Puerto Plata, and the Cibao region. Whether you're buying a gift or just looking around, this is where you feel that mix of culture, creativity, and pride that makes the Dominican Republic unforgettable. Whether you're buying a gift or just looking around, this is where you feel that mix of culture, creativity, and pride that makes the Dominican Republic unforgettable. Here you'll find well-known brands like La Aurora, Leon Jimenez, and Arturo Fuente, all made from tobacco grown in the rich soil of the Cibao Valley. The smell of fresh leaf fills the air, mixed with the sight of Panama-style hats hanging above the boxes. Inside the cigar section, you'll find some of the Dominican Republic's most famous names: Arturo Fuente, La Aurora, and Leon Jimenez, brands known around the world for quality and tradition. I didn't end up buying any cigars here. The prices were a bit on the high side, especially compared to what you can find elsewhere in the Colonial Zone. A lot of the shops right on the main tourist roads tend to charge extra, mostly because they expect visitors to buy on impulse. But if you're really into cigars or just want to bring back a few authentic Dominican ones, there are plenty of places nearby where you can get much better value. For example, check out La Leyenda del Cigarro on Calle El Conde. It's one of the most respected cigar shops in the area, known for hand-rolled cigars made right in front of you. Or visit Taino Cigars on Isabel La Católica Street. They offer a wide selection of local brands, great prices, and a laid-back atmosphere where you can actually learn about the craft. And that pretty much wraps up my carriage ride through Santo Domingo's Colonial Zone. From the cobblestone streets to the old cathedrals and colorful souvenir shops, this ride was the perfect way to see the city's history up close. My driver worked with Bori's Auto Services, and if you ever want to do the same tour, you can reach them directly at 985-266-3725.
Todo bien, gracias a Dios aquí en la faena. Y a usted lo que le gusta la baja. Bien. Con cochita.
The ride costs around $35 for about 45 minutes, and it's a relaxed, scenic way to explore the oldest city in the New World. Whether you're here for the culture, the food, or just the atmosphere, the Colonial Zone has something for everyone. Every corner has a story, and every ride gives you a new perspective on the Dominican Republic's capital. Now, that concludes this trip, but if you're planning to visit, don't skip the carriage ride. It's a simple experience that connects you to 500 years of history, all at the pace of a horse and the rhythm of the Caribbean. He took me back to the spot he picked me up